As Jair stood there watching the last bit of remnants of his enslavement drift down into the deep dark of the ocean, he felt a rush of relief spread over his body. He had managed to escape the hellish nightmare of being a slave for the High Elves. Since birth he had been their property, stripped of any taste of freedom and in all manners of the word life. He was to be a perfect mindless drone for the lowly royal High Elf, perform the tasks he was set when he was set them, and with no sort of complaining. But it was with the advancing years as he became a young adult, his mind managed to break the mould of being a slave, and soon he set himself upon the almost seemingly impossible task of escaping and claiming his freedom he was robbed of. And now, standing upon the edge of the ship which had delivered him to the land of Skyrim, he could finally begin to taste the tingles of freedom expand through his body. Though he had come to a land cold with weather and with state of affairs within the Nordic region, the warmth of joy and excitement from his newly attained freedom kept the bitter cold at bay. He was ready to begin his new life as a wanderer, though fearful for the adaptation he would now face to this new life and new land, unknowing what was ahead of him and what might come to pass. His spirits remained high and fought back the fear, keeping it at bay, for there was excitement in the unknown, especially since this would be his new beginning. Maundas, 18th of last seed, 4E201. Hello everyone, my name is Phoenix or Nix, and welcome to Nix Roleplay Skyrim. So right now, Jair has just arrived in the Imperial, well I guess you could say it's the Imperial docks. This is actually Solitude docks, but it is, at the moment, Solitude is under Imperial control. Although Jair does not know that, as such, he knows little bits and pieces. See, on the journey here, on this pirate ship, this is actually a pirate ship, and not a very nice crew, as Jair found out on the month's journey. He had to endure to get to Skyrim. But he had bits and pieces of gossip from the pirates. They weren't very sociable towards him because he wasn't a member of the crew. In fact, he barely just managed to get on board thanks to the Thalmor outfit he was wearing. However, he had to wear it, otherwise the Thalmor would have noticed him escaping, because by the time he'd killed the royal, they were very much aware of who had done it, and they were after him, so he was very lucky the guards had followed him, and that he managed to muster the strength, because he was very weak at the time, being that he only got fed cold gruel all week long, breakfast, lunch and dinner. I don't know why I'm saying Monday, but, oh dear, I did not mean to do that. Pardon me, I'm ruining the immersion here. But he was quite impressed with his own strength of being able to take out those 3 Thalmor guards. However, luckily it provided him with a means of escape with the cloak of the Thalmor mage. And what it didn't provide him with was a good excuse to get aboard the pirate ship, for the pirate captain was quite harsh with him. Very hard on him to actually allow him onto the boat because he was wearing Thalmor clothing. But with a bit of persuasion in terms of gold coin, which Jair had to use a lot of his money that he'd managed to muster from the lowly royal elves' chambers before he had to escape. So he isn't left with much now. I believe he has 85 golden coins. He doesn't have much left, and he's quite poor at the moment, and he has to live on that for a couple of days at least, because he has not found his way in Skyrim yet. This is an entirely new world to him, and he knows nothing of this land, the prices, anything. He's never been free. He's always been a slave, so everything is new to him, and he has to learn quick in this very harsh land, which it is in terms of weather and temperature, as well as the current state of affairs. But what minor gossip he did hear on the boat, listening through the walls and in the kitchen, or the makeshift kitchen, while he was getting some food, hoping not to be thrown a punch by one of the pirates, he heard of the state of affairs that Skyrim is in right now, split between the rebellion and the Imperials, and he heard of the White Gold Concordat, which actually he had heard over in the lowly royal elves' chamber, for obviously he was a member of the Thalmor, and he had heard of how the Imperials had lost to the Thalmor, as had many others. I believe elsewhere the Khajiit's homeland has also lost to them, as well as the Wood Elves. And he overheard many conversations as he sat there serving the lowly royal elf and his guests as they joined. And of course, he would never say anything, of course. He was a perfect slave to the lowly royal elf, but he had no one to tell. He had no friends, and he was never allowed out of the very small area in which he was allowed to walk around. Obviously, he was mostly with the royal elf most of his time. Other times he'd be in a cell awaiting instructions and to sleep and eat. So he knows that Solitude is where the Imperials somewhat are situated, and he also has overheard that the Thalmor are very close to Solitude, and he does not wish to stay here too long, because if he stays here too long he may get found out. Of course, the Thalmor probably don't know exactly what he looks like, but at the moment he is quite distinctive in terms of clothing. He's wearing slave rags, so he may, if the Thalmor notice him, and he's very sure in a month that word has gotten out towards the Thalmor in Skyrim that he has murdered one of the royal elves. Despite being a lowly royal elf, that's still treason. So he's on the run, and he can't stay in Solitude much longer, because if he does he might get caught out. He knows that the Thalmor are around here somewhere, and even right now he's a bit fearful that some of them are up on the battlements watching him or looking out for him. So without any more time to lose, he's noticed this man at the edge of the dock sitting there with his own boat, and he's curious as to whether this man is sort of providing a taxi service, because it looks as though he does. So he's going to go and talk to him. Hello there, sir.
Looking to hire a boat?
Yes, actually, I am very much. I'd like to hire a boat,
headed?
please. I'd like to head to Dawnstar,
Climb
please.
on in the boat and get comfortable.
Thank you. So Jair has had to forfeit 50 gold to get to Dawnstar, which has left him with 35 coins, which he knows is nowhere near enough to survive the next, couple of days. He knows that will not be enough to survive much more than maybe 1 or 2 days. Even though he doesn't know the prices in Skyrim, he's sure that won't last him that long. And the reason he went to Dawnstar is when overhearing the pirates on the ship and listening to their gossip, he heard them speak of how Winterhold was the place of where Windhelm, sorry, not Winterhold. Windhelm is where the rebellion was situated, the capital of the rebellion, Ulfric Stormcroak, the leader of the rebellion. And despite the fact that the Thalmor probably will be nowhere near there, he doesn't want to get involved in anything to do with this whole sort of war that Skyrim's in at the moment. And not just that, but also the fact that he's heard the Nords in Windhelm aren't very kind to outsiders, and he's not looking to cause any trouble or get into any trouble, because this is a new start for him. And although he's already in a lot of trouble, and it's dangerous times for him right now, he's not out of the park just yet. He's still got some dangerous times ahead of him in regards to the Thalmor. He decided to go to Dawnstar because it's controlled by the Stormcloaks, which he knows of thanks to the pirates, and overhearing them with his rather acute ears and listening through walls, and a rather handy drinking tankard which he pressed up against the wall. I'm sure you guys know how that works. You press a glass or something up to the wall and you listen through it. It amplifies the sound. But yes, luckily through his overhearing, he has managed to gain some information on the month's journey, and that's going to give him a head start in this new life of his. And so he's at Dawnstar right now, and he's just taking a little walk around. He's sort of getting a bearing for the place. He's never been here before, but he doesn't want to appear too shady to the guards or anyone living here, because he's clearly a newcomer, and he's not exactly wearing very wealthy clothes or very stylish clothes or any of the such. He's not very much prepared for the winter cold. However, thanks to being a Khajiit, he has fur, so that's keeping him mildly warm at the moment. He's lucky he has fur. He could imagine if he had skin, if he was just skin, no fur, he could imagine how cold he might be. But luckily his fur's keeping him mildly warm. But Dawnstar's in the thick of the cold here, as you can see. And he knows if he stood out here for too long, he'd eventually begin to shiver. His fur can only keep him warm for so long, and it'll only take him so far. But luckily he's seen an inn here the inn, an inn here, the Windspeak Inn. And hello there. I'm not actually currently. I wasn't looking to speak with you. You're very much. Yes. Nothing, devil child. Leave me. So, he doesn't really trust a lot of people at the moment. He's not very trusting of anyone because he's afraid if he gives up too much information to someone, they might hand him out. They might sort of sell him out to the Thalmor. So he's being very careful. And, what are they talking about here? Oh, fire. Oh, that's better. Oh, that dreadful cold weather outside.
I assure you that it is quite normal.
What on earth are they talking about?
It's the same dream over and over again. You think that's normal? It's evil, I tell you.
Erandur, she has a point. You keep
So,
telling us no harm will
I'm
come
going
of
to
these
be
things,
speaking
but they must
in
be
first
known.
person
Give him a chance
when
to speak.
Jair is interacting with someone, and I'll be speaking for him. And the reason he sounds, I'd like to say he sounds posh. I'm not sure how much that sounds posh to you,
All I ask
but at least to me, I think I'm putting a bit of a posh accent on. And the reason that I'm doing that is because he spent his whole life with royal high elves, or one royal high elf and the Thalmor, and as you've noticed, the high elves speak quite high and quite posh and they're quite high and mighty, and nobody can look down upon them. So I just believe that he would have caught on to that sort of accent being around them his whole life, instead of the way most Khajiits talk, which is like, take a look, sort of more, I don't know how you describe it, maybe Eastern? But, so yes, when he's interacting with someone, or when he wishes to he's talking to himself in his mind, when he's thinking something, I'll be speaking first person for him, and I'll be using third person as a sort of narrator all the other times when
Why
he's...
would I do that? There's work to be done.
sometimes when he's thinking and such. So I'll be swapping between the two, just so you guys know. But mostly it'll be third person, so I'll be narrating his actions and thoughts and such. So he's He's noticed this sort of a family matter here, so he's sort of staying back until they finish speaking. But he'd like to acquire some food, because after a month of eating heavily salted beef and stale bread, which a few times he's... Oh, really? That's not arrogant of you at all, love. Alright, no need to be rude. So yes, after the whole month of eating very highly salted beef and stale bread, which some had maggots in, sadly he had to find, he'd like to get some food.
Need a room?
So
Don't worry.
No,
Nightmares don't seem to happen for travelers.
Oh, that's good. I was a little bit concerned about overhearing their conversation, but what have you got for sale,
Sate
sir?
that appetite, huh?
Yeah, exactly. I'm quite hungry, thank you. What have you got here? Oh, apple pie. So, Jair has only eaten gruel his whole life. There's been the odd occasion where the lowly royal high elf was actually quite nice to him and gave him something else to eat. But most of the time he's been eating gruel. That's what his palate is. His palate is used to. His taste buds are used to gruel. So it's all new to him. All this food is new to him. So he's quite interested in trying out beef, because that looks rather tasty. He's very fond of apples, probably because fruit was about the only other thing he got other than gruel. So, and that was not very often. So when he did get a piece of fruit, it was like sacred. But I'd like to have some cooked beef, please. Thank you. And I'd like to have a drink. Now, he doesn't drink alcohol. Jair is not an alky, as it were. He doesn't drink alcohol. I've never actually seen Argonian blood wine before, so that's interesting. Very expensive, though. But it doesn't seem like they have anything else. So he's just going to bite the bullet and have some ale, because he's fed up with water. And water is what he drank as a slave. And on the pirate ship, all they drank was wine and mead, which was disgusting. So he's going to try out some ale. He's never had it before. He knows that it's an alcoholic drink, though. But I'd like to have some ale, please. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
See ya.
Yes, goodbye. I'm just going to sit over here and eat my meal, if you don't mind. So it's time for Jair to try something new. He has never had this sort of food before. So this is he's still got some stale bread, but he's going to dispose of that. So he's going to try and some wine. As I said, the pirates were drinking lots of wine. So he's going to try his beef. And as soon as he starts to eat the beef, he can't stop. He continues to eat it until it's all gone within seconds. And they gave him a few odd looks over by the bar for his eating, which was just... He ate it in no time, but he was starving. And it was incredible to taste the texture. It was all new to him, and he absolutely loved that cooked beef, and it's already a tick. He cannot wait to try some more, and it's probably what he will be buying again once he has some more money. And drinking the ale, he it was a bit bitter to him. He didn't really enjoy it, but it's better than going thirsty. But now Jair has to plan ahead. He has only got 3 gold now, and he has no room for it. He believes he has no room for a bed. He doesn't believe that he'll get a bed for a 3 gold, and he has no clothing appropriate for moving outside, for going on an adventure, as it were, a wander. And he has come to the conclusion, though he doesn't want to do this, that he may have to steal later on tonight to find some clothing and perhaps some money. And then as soon as he has stolen said items, he will probably leave Dawnstar immediately, as not to cause or arouse suspicion, because he does not want to see the Thalmor again. He is through with the Thalmor. So that is the end of this episode for today, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm afraid that it's going to be 15 minutes for the moment, or it's a little bit over at the moment, but because the size of the files are just ridiculously huge, and I can't find a way of getting the file to go down anymore, and I can't sit there for 4 hours uploading. But I hope you enjoyed this episode. Episode 2 should be coming along fairly soon. I'm going to try and get these out every other day, if not every day. I'm not holding any promises for every day, but yes. So episode 2 will be up soon, and we'll see how Jair's attempt at sneaking in a thieving, go, and if he manages to find the items he needs, and manages to get away from Dawnstar without arousing suspicion. So I thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Take care, and I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye for now, everyone.